Fairy tales. Often whimsical, always memorable. Fairy tales are offered up by cultures the world over as a fine form of storytelling on whose pages can be found magic, excitement, romance, even salvation. Tell that to anyone but the fairy tale's main characters and they'd scoff at you. They might even punch you. What happens in the background of Happily Ever After? Often the fairy dust is reserved for a select few, while the rest of the towns, shires, and villages are left to fend for themselves, or worse, are blindsided by someone else's pursuit of their happily ever after. Their lives often dramatically and irreparably affected by all the magic in the air. When we hear the words fairy tale, we often assume that the ending specifically is a happy one. One where everyone deemed good gets whatever their heart desires, while those deemed bad lay vanquished or convert to the good way of thinking at the very least. But in the case of today's subject, a fairy from an enchanted forest, this fairy tale is simply a story from his life. Complicated, heartbreaking, and without a happy ending for those involved. But where there is no glass slipper, there's a lesson of great value for anyone willing to listen to this imperfect pixie. This is his story.
Hello. My name is Garen. I'm a pixie. I was a pixie. Used to live in an enchanted forest. I'm guessing you have a vague idea of what an enchanted forest is. I'm thinking you're picturing fantastical places filled with life and love and glowing shit, right? Where pixies and fairies flitter around getting drunk off ethereal spirits, high off sparkly earth dusts, partying until the sun comes up. They're places filled with music and magic and sex and spells and pranks and mystery and fun. Well, if that's what you think an enchanted forest is all about, you thought right. The love is pure and the magic is real. The drink and drugs are potent as fuck. And the bacchanalia for the romantically unattached makes the Playboy Mansion look like a Christian prayer retreat. And I left it all behind. Not for an exciting or bold or romantic reason. I left for a petty reason, to hurt someone. See, I was part of a love triangle, a proper triangle. It was me, a pixie named Ignatius, and the queen of the fairies. Her name is Aurora, but Iggy and I called her Sunny. Whenever the fairy king was away, the three of us would spend as much time together as possible. We would talk a lot till the sun came up. I would play my panpipes for them. I haven't played panpipes in over 50 years. Sunny used to cast spells on unsuspecting pixies in the forest just for our amusement. We would laugh a lot. We would love a lot. Maybe too much. See, Sunny was in love with me, I'm sure of that. I loved Iggy more than I ever loved her. And Iggy, you guessed it, was in love with Sunny. So you had everyone busy loving someone who was busy loving someone else. That is a love triangle. It was challenging, but it got so much worse. One day I left Iggy and Sunny in her tree to go grab honeysuckle and dandelion so that I could make more of my signature cocktail, the honey lion. Believe me, that shit roars. Just flips the natural world upside down. We've been drinking them all day. We were fucking gone. Which is probably why Sunny, lying naked on her leaf next to Iggy, didn't notice the king in their tree. Just as I walked back with my supplies, I looked up and saw that king lunge forward and grab Iggy, snap his neck like a twig, like he was nothing, and just drop him into the river that ran underneath their tree. I watched him float away. Sunny said nothing. She did nothing, and I hated her for that. Later, she told me she had plans to kill the king. She wanted to run off, me and her. I told her I wanted no part of either, that it was too little, way too late. So instead, I went to the king, and I asked to be turned into a mortal. Renounce my pixie status. He granted that request. So that meant no more tiny height, no more horns, no more wings, no more enchanted forest, no more Sunny. She was livid. She never said a word to me again. I didn't care. I wanted to hurt her. That's why I left. I made my way into the human world in the year 1977. The only place where I felt even remotely comfortable was the factory scene in New York City, with Warhol and his cronies. I did a lot of painting, a lot of modeling, a lot of drugs. I played a lot of guitar. I actually recorded a record called Puck. Bowie heard it. He did not like it. But he did give me some exceptional coke. I lived through the 80s. What a colossal shit show that was. I lived through the 90s, which I sincerely enjoyed. Of note, I was in the original production of The Donkey Show. I also learned to skateboard in the 90s. Something about gliding around on four wheels reminds me of my previous life flittering around the forest. I'm not very good at skateboarding, but I really do love it. And it's where I keep my tribute to Iggy. Modest tribute, yes. But this way, he's always with me. I lived through the 20-aughts, the 20-teens, and now here we are in the not-so-roaring 2020s. I make my living as a freelance gardening consultant. No one knows more about plants than a former pixie. I also smoke a lot of pot, skate a ton, and I'm currently writing my memoirs. Not sure what to call the book. Maybe The Pixie Who Picked Rage. Rage seems like too strong a word for what I picked. How about The Petty Pixie? I don't know. I just wanted Sunny to know that I didn't want her. I'm sure that message was received, and at what a cost. I do still think about her. Then I think about Iggy and I get sad. So I guess my Fairytale Fallout is a cautionary one. I was so angry at Sunny for not doing something I also didn't do. I watched the king kill Iggy. I froze just like Sunny did. I told myself I needed to run away from her, all the while trying to run away from myself. Well, guess what? Here I am, alone. At the end of the day, Sunny didn't kill Iggy. I didn't kill Iggy. George killed Iggy. Yes, the Fairy King's name is George, not Oberon. We're not all dancing around in Shakespeare's fucking imagination. I wouldn't mind seeing Sunny, telling her I'm sorry. Once you become immortal, you can no longer see the pixies. So the best I can do these days is take a trip back to our forest. Her forest. And play my guitar. Hope that she hears me. I'll leave you with something Shakespeare said. Yes, I read Shakespeare. I am a fan of his. It doesn't mean he invented me. Sorry for the outburst before. It's a sore spot. What he said was, show me a man who is not passion's slave, and I will keep him in my heart's core, in my heart of hearts. Now, I take this to mean leave passion out of your decision-making, and you will be better off. You may land in someone's good grace, you may command respect, earn trust. At the bare minimum, you'll have a way better chance of not fucking everything up. Anyway, that's it. May you find peace and love and whatever else you need to be happy.
Woke up when I didn't have to, just to share my morning coffee with you. Talk about the state of the world and how we're gonna change it, just you wait. I'd have a breakdown and you wouldn't know it, 'cause my poker face would never show it. Haven't decided if that's good for me, but it's too late to change it anyway. All these things that I think about, I know you think